Alright guys, what's up? It's Jack and welcome back to another video. So in this one we're going to be talking about two subjects of importance, and one of them is Activision Blizzard, or should I say Microsoft, laying off 1,900 Activision Blizzard employees, and of course Sony banning the Cronus Zen. So let's get one of them out of the way right now, and that's the simple one, and that is the Cronus Zen. Now it's really this makes me happy that Sony is going to end up banning the Cronus Zen, which is great. But there's one more thing that we cannot forget, right? I mean, there are certain people that are really big names in the industry, and keeping that illusion alive is really crucial for the gaming industry in terms of bringing in money and popularity and eyes towards your game, right? So like if a certain streamer, so to speak, right, that has been questionable with their quote unquote skills, right, that just so happens to be popular, is streaming any given game or whatnot, all of a sudden the chances of your game, of that game, right, being popular goes pretty high, right? So there is something that's called a whitelist, and it exists. So it's very possible that there will be certain names and certain creators that are of a certain size and certain popularity that will be exempt from the Cronus Zen being banned, right? I mean, you can make it happen, right? It's all digital, it's all, you know, computer and all that kind of stuff. And trust me when I say there are certain names that can get omitted from this, right? So there's that. But even if that wasn't a thing and certain names will not be omitted and it's something that applies to everybody, trust me, a lot of these guys are probably already thought ahead about this, right? I mean, it's like obviously they made their money by doing some sneaky shit, right? But I'm sure they want to keep doing it, right? So I'm sure they thought of let's see, a backup plan or whatever it's called in order for them to continue to do what they're doing. They'll just go a different route. Remember, guys, there was a time back in the day that we didn't even know about what these guys were doing in the first place, and they were getting away with it. And then we, over the course of time, we ended up finding out, and things started getting exposed. So I'm pretty sure that they will find another way. It's as simple as that. So, but as far as the cleanliness of games go, as far as on Sony's side, this is a good thing, you know, because the less people that use Cronus is the better. I mean, there's so many people that order these things online, it's ridiculous. It's like at least 7,000+ people a month order a Cronus Zen through Amazon or whatnot, or you know, but that doesn't equate to the total amount of people that have one. There's people that have had one for a while, and then there's other avenues to where you can get it, not just Amazon, but more than that. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that, and I'm happy to see a Cronus Zen ban, and as well as, you know, when X Defiant comes out, hopefully this will kind of make things to where maybe they'll ban it from the game in general, you know, so that way it'll be completely fair. You know, it's like on Microsoft side, Sony side, and of course PC. So I would love to see that. I would absolutely love it. It'll make the game cleaner, that much better. And of course, as we've mentioned before, one of the biggest concerns about the game is the cheating situation. So, all right. So on to topic number 2 of today's discussion, and that is Activision Blizzard. You know, 1,900 Activision and Blizzard employees being fired. Now, first of all, I just want to say right off the bat that regardless of how much money these guys make, and everything like that, I just want to say from a personal perspective, it's obviously never a good thing whenever you hear, you know, people have been laid off of work, right? Everybody's got different things going on, so and I understand that that's life, you know, everybody's got different things going on, and regardless of the fact that these guys are certainly not working minimum wage, you know, you never know how many people these other people might be taking care of, right? We're not just talking about their own family members, but we're talking about, like, you know, maybe helping out different, you know, different people in different parts of their family, you know, not their like immediate family in terms of their child or their kids and all that stuff, but I'm talking about, like, you know, maybe other family members. You never know, you might have somebody in the family that's sick and they're helping them out and stuff like that, which is obviously very, very expensive if you're trying to help them out when it comes to that, when it comes to health, right? And at the end of the day, it really sucks that people got laid off. However, Blame Truth made a video either earlier today or yesterday or whatnot, and yeah, he made a kind of a food analogy that I couldn't help but kind of understand. He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, he said something along the lines of, would you rather have one Gordon Ramsay in the kitchen or a bunch of, Waffle House cooks or whatnot, or something like that? So basically, in other words, what he's trying to say is that, like, it's all about putting the right people in the right positions and stuff like that. However, I think it goes, and he's right, and I agree with him, but at the same time, I think it goes a little bit deeper than that, because, well, Microsoft did invest, nearly $69 billion on Activision Blizzard, and as far as I understand, I don't think Call of Duty's doing too well. As far as Call of Duty not doing too well, does put a smile on my face. It really does. Because again, if you want change, right? Well, the games, you have to make some sort of change somehow as far as the pockets go. So is it possible that a $1 trillion company laid off, 1,900 employees because they would end up losing money by keeping them? It is possible, but at the same time, it's like, well, I couldn't help but see Twitter or X and kind of look at a part of Phil Spencer's response, which, again, I'm paraphrasing here. It's something along the lines of, you guys over the years have made a difference in Activision Blizzard, and stuff like that, but at the same time, these guys are still fired. So basically, a lot of people were tweeting yesterday or the day before or whatnot saying, oh, you guys have played an integral part, but yeah, get out of here. And let me tell you something, this isn't something new. This actually happened with me in my career after sacrificing time, sweat, blood, and tears. And on top of that, I wasn't getting a good salary. At the end of the day, I was told by the end of it, it's like, I was told that, my services were no longer required, so to speak. Other words were said, but at the end of the day, that's what it meant. It's like, your services are no longer required, right? So it is possible that something like that happened to them as well. And it happens all the time, believe it or not. It just so happens that we hear about this because it's a big company and it's a popular subject, and it's within a popular gaming franchise, or once popular gaming franchise. So it is a big deal, and it sucks when you hear about 1,900 employees that are no longer employed. But with that being said, I think a lot of them, if not the majority of them, if not all of them, can rebound pretty well, because when it comes to the gaming industry, I'm sure people will, they'll find jobs. And I'm pretty sure that they can rebound rather quickly. But going through that transition is a pain in the ass. There's no doubt about it. But I think they'll be okay. Optimistically speaking, I think they'll be okay. And again, I mentioned what I mentioned before, but at the same time, we can't also forget that even though it sucks that they lost their jobs, it's not like somebody who's working from paycheck to paycheck making minimum wage. It's not as devastating as that. I mean, it could be devastating depending on the person's whatever they got going on in their personal life or whatnot, and who they're taking care of and how much money they have to spend taking care of that person, but or people. But regardless of which, it's like these guys are not working minimum wage. So it's much more devastating to somebody who's working like a minimum wage job and works, from paycheck to paycheck, and all of a sudden got laid off. All of a sudden within the snap of a finger, they have to worry about how they're going to eat, right? But I think all these devs, with the amount of money that they make, I think that, they have enough on the side to where they will be able to eat, and, bills will be paid until they find another job in the field. So, but those are my takes on that. And with that being said, I want to know down in the comments section what you guys think. And I want to close by saying that even though I feel bad that employees got fired, every single time I see Activision Blizzard taking a hit in some way, shape, or form, I can't help but not feel bad about it. I don't feel bad about it, because things within that company need to change. And again, over the time, ever since the acquisition, we've been saying, oh, things are going to change for the better because it's Microsoft. And I would like for that to happen, don't get me wrong, and I certainly see the logic in that. I mean, hell, I made a few videos about it, and I was optimistic about it. But with that being said, I've also mentioned that Microsoft is also a company, right? And at the end of the day, it's about the bottom dollar. And as long as it remains to be all about the bottom dollar, we always have to keep in mind that even though it's not running under the same leadership, the leadership still wants to make money. And we can't forget about that. So But with that being said, guys, I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time to watch and or listen. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully we'll hear something about X Defiant soon. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a great rest of your weekend.